3d6 down the line.
All right, that is episode 85 in the books. Well done, everyone. Lots of really good play there.
Oh, man.
I just want to ask first thing before anything else. David, why are you like a floating head in the darkness?
Because the only source of light I have is the Miro board on my second screen. And I am but a demon in the night.
You look like you're about to go on for a flight on the event horizon.
I built the event horizon, and you know that very well, Mike.
Tell us again to go use those children as a meat shield for the zombies.
I am not saying that we should do it.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. We're going to do a Kickstarter to get David some professional lighting.
I do
Chip in.
need some professional lighting. It's true.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was a lot of chaos.
That was a lot. It was me coming in late. It was a lot to catch up on. I'm like, what the hell is happening right now?
You missed a single room. That's all you missed.
I forgot which room we were in like 3 times, so you're all good, man. It's very disorienting. The just chase of it. I think my adrenaline was pumping so hard. I was just like, where are we gonna go? Where are we gonna go? Where are we going? And in scenarios like that, even in D&D, where it's just pretend, it's very easy, I think, to kind of get like a haze over your eyes and just be like when things are really stressful. For instance, I don't know if you guys can relate. I got my character sheet up. I got all these things I can do. I would not advocate anyone playing off the character sheet, but it is easy to be like, oh, what the fuck? If things go wrong, what can I like do? What can I do? Like you're trying to like balance all these things, and it's easy to like lose sight of the immediate, sometimes.
Well, you had a clutch call with Monster Summoning 4. Yeah. You pulled that out of your ass.
I was not about to just stand there with some zombies. Yeah, so I'm glad it worked out. But
no, I think the thing is too, David, is we're at a level right now too where keeping track of like all the special things that your items do and all the rest of that, those are our powers, right? That's kind of like that's the cool stuff. So I think that was a fantastic use of a scroll. Mm-hmm. Fantastic use of a scroll.
I think it worked out for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly how I wanted like the house rule just for scrolls to work. Is that's like a super high level spell. I think Monster Summoning 4 is like 6th level or something like that. So so like under normal, I can't remember exactly, but my point being is like I don't want people to hoard scrolls with the intention of actually wanting to transcribe the scroll into their spell book. And so like under normal circumstances, you'd be like, well, I'm not going to cast Monster Summoning 4 because I want that in my spell book so I can cast it all the goddamn time, right? Right. Yeah, it is a 6th level spell. Right. But like knowing it's a scroll and knowing that you don't have the power, you don't have the ability to actually transcribe it into your spell book. It's like fucking burn it, just burn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So worked out.
Well. Like the spell you did against Neferet, which was like so key to us not dying. Like that thing was awesome.
Yeah.
But, like tangentially, right? As like a video gamer, I was always like a potion scroll special item hoarder. I couldn't help it, right? Like I kept everything, and then I would always get into the game. And I'm like, why do I have 300 items in my inventory? Right? Like far past their expiration date, the time in which it would have been useful to me, it's not anymore. And like, not to be like, I don't know, annoying design brain about it, but when you get a little older and you like take a step back, you're like, well, that's there because it should be used in the situation you're in, right? Yeah. Now, Monster Summoning 4 is like a little more complex that I didn't plan on using it anytime soon because it's so high level, but also like full transparency, like again, Infinity Engine games, right? If I ever use Monster Summoning in video game interpretations of D&D, it was always about like battlefield management, which is not necessarily their intended use, but it felt very instinctual for me in a moment like this to be like, well, yeah, I'm going to use this. Yeah, I know it's like a burn of a really powerful monster, but like I'd rather avoid a combat encounter now than like use it in a combat encounter I should have avoided later. Does that make sense?
Well, classically, Monster classically, Monster Summoning has always been battlefield management because it was a random. You didn't know what you were going to get, so you couldn't actually anticipate like tactically like how to use these monsters to your best ability because you didn't know what you were going to get. You just kind of knew various power levels. So it was always about just putting bodies on the floor. You know what I mean? Just get more bodies on the floor, which is exactly what you used it for. So it was great.
Right. Could have been hedgehogs, man.
Yep.
And then you immediately punished me, John, by letting him run away. How could you? How could you?
Yeah.
That was really cool.
It's an interesting thing because, as we reach, like Mike said, the magic items are our powers. Mm-hmm. We have in the last, 10 episodes or so, acquired a tremendous number of scrolls and potions and items, many of which we've now identified. And for those of you listening at home, it's been a real head scratcher on how to distribute these.
Mm-hmm. Literally,
on one hand, just 10 minutes ago, Mort picks up a ring. Hey, that's a cool ring. And, Upior snatches it and goes, invisible stalker, and runs off. That's what happened. And Mort's like, what the fuck? I just searched the dead body. I don't get nothing. But David had an awesome
I have a great response to this. I love that you said it in that way. No, but, and this is, so again, like pulling the curtain back. Yeah. We know that a lot of items were identified, right? Just recently. And we know that we have a lot of stuff that, not as a criticism, but the boon and the bane of being in a big mega dungeon is there's a lot of items, right? And if we're trying to plan for a session or just keep things moving, it's hard to always remember each one. That's been a classic difficulty of all of our very old brains. We're very feeble. Some of us may have long COVID. Who knows, right? The damage I've done. But so it's a bit of a bird in hand situation. But also, a big conversation we had was the value of items as a not as a character defining thing, though some characters have much more use out of them, aka the +4 sword of death dealing, but also what is the circumstantial, what is the character, the contextual use of a thing, right? And I jumped twice this session, both on the ring and on the circlet, not because I've been pining to have the circlet on my head, right? No. Because the minute I saw a ring, I thought I want to have the powerful item, but because I was I can think of in this moment, you may have all had a thought too, but in this moment, I thought of a way to use this thing now, and if I act on it. Right. And I may not have acted with as much urgency if there wasn't a death dealing Lich Queen ready to kill us. But that's what I did. Right. And a session from now, I may give that to anyone else. But it's a very interesting. Yeah. I'm not trying to make too large a distinction, but I think it is a very interesting aspect of adaptive play that isn't always very obvious in modern gaming when you view magic items as a part of your character's personality, for lack of a better word. Right. It becomes a part of who you are rather than who the party can be. Is that a clear thing to say?
No, it's kind of what I was saying, which is when your character is, and in this edition, you don't have, at third level, I'm able to walk straight up a tree and float to the air. You don't get that, right? So you need the boots and you need the cloak and whatever. Mm-hmm. So, you want your character to be able to do something cool. And then it becomes, a decision we've had to make of so-and-so is probably better off with the boots of levitation and the dagger of venom. But if you give the girdle from that guy and the spear to that guy, then he can do this thing, and so stuff gets sort of swapped around. And more, I got to tell you, I would be loath to give up the mask. I think the mask is super cool. 100%. I don't want to give it up, even though we might find a scenario where, John's you guys just hired a priest of Thoth, and boy, he's eyeballing that mask real hard, and we put that on his head, and he probably gets extra powers out of it or something. I don't want to give it up. But the sack of Laurel, the person who's the most creative with their whacked out ideas coming out of that has so far been Matt for sure. So Matt was the right person to give the slack of laurel to, no question.
Slack of laurel, we call it.
Slack of laurel. Yeah, that's appropriate. I'll take it.
That's why, after the death. Sorry, we don't want to talk about it too much. But after Av died, I had the sack for a little while, and then I gave it back to Matt because it's more fun for Matt to be playing with that than it is for me. Now, there's not really any too much as far as magic item hogging type thing, because the shelf life for all one of our characters is maybe about 10 to 15 episodes. and I say that, but I've been waiting for you to die and give me the pin for literally 35 episodes. I've been waiting for you to die so I could take the pin. So could you get with the program, please?
Well, it is an interesting distinction. Not that you can not classes and character class, but classes and like descriptive class, like do the items per se. But there is I've been noticing, even new to me with an OSR, there's a big difference between like, I want this weapon or armor because if everything goes wrong, the probability that I'm either the best suited for it or that I'm most protected by it is highest. Therefore, I should have it. Be an armor piece that could be like ISO's ring and shield on me or whatever. Like there's like very pragmatic definitions there. But then we talk about like laurel sack, or we talk about like invisibility rings, or we talk about like things that are creatively lateral. It becomes very iffy, right?
Right.
Because like how can you really create a hierarchy to adaptive in the moment, et cetera, right? Like, so taking the mask, for instance, Ted, it's not, this is what's interesting is like the mask is not a things go wrong item, but it is a useful if a scout has it, useful if perception is a concept, same with a circlet. If perception is a concept, whatever perception means to us and abilities or whatever, then someone who is perceiving first should have perceptive items, right? Like it just makes perfect sense.
Right. I was seeing it
class-based, but we go.
Yeah. I was seeing it more as and this is the reason I don't want to give it up is like, I'm really enjoying, Mort standing there in the mask of Toresis with this holding out a scepter and telling the goblins to run for their lives and everything. And like, it's very much in the character that I've created for Mort and that kind of thing. It's not a combat thing. It's not a best suited to him thing. It's just a role-playing Mort thing.
Well, but role-playing Mort thing may also be in the character of the factions we're engaging in with whatever, right? Like Mort has built a reputation and a powerful item on his face reiterates that reputation. So it's hard to quantify. Yeah, but there's a legitimate reason you would be wanting to keep that both for yourself and for all of us, right? Makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. So, Matt, you got to pipe down, bro. You're being way too noisy. Too much, Matt.
What I've been like, because I've been thinking about magic items all week and like, oh, what about this? What about this? I'm over it. We're figuring it out as we go along. What I've been bending my mind around lately, and I got to talk about this, is trying to put a reason to Neferet's path through this beastman's lair, right? Mm-hmm. Like we don't know the order in which things happen, but it seems like she came through that southern hallway, looped around to the north, like searched Mother's chambers and kept going to the north, kept going back in. But if this is true, like if the stalker knows, can track her and knows where she is, and she went all this way back west, why? Like, that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Like, why did she go this way instead of any other direction?
So I actually think that she went through the middle door, came down this hallway, engaged with these fire magic or these wizards and flambéed them, then went into Mother's boudoir, right? Setting off like the porcine HQ, heard the explosions or whatever. So they all ran to the east and then probably engaged somewhere around Mother's boudoir or whatever like that, right past there. So that's what I think. And then I think she circled around back down south and went back through Sheep Company, mainly because those kids are still up in that northern passageway.
Well, right? Yeah.
So I don't think she ever went that way. I think she went through the middle and then circled around to the south and came back out that way. And I bet you anything she's back in her little tomb.
Yeah.
So
the big question is I mean, she's been asleep and undead, and she's probably quite insane. Like, what's her thought process, right? Is like she a fully cognizant and rational individual who will now engage in plans, or is she this sort of hunger-driven, force of nature that really just wants to, get her library, like she was complaining, and wants to kill us probably too. But, if she's just insane, there may not be any rhyme or purpose to anything she's doing here. But she could be looking for something, like other artifacts or something. Like she knows where she is. These rooms were here when she was alive. She knows what she's looking for. She's not lost.
You have a very strong clue as to what she's looking for
because of yelling about Hellas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Which wasn't on this level, which makes me wonder if there's a staircase around here we don't know about, or there are some stairs.
There's one we do know about, which is directly to the south in this.
What do we think she's looking for? Sorry, I missed that. What was that?
Hellas. The Setite that we killed, innocently. Shirley told us every single thing that he knew.
Oh, see, I think I missed that part.
Yeah, I think it was right when you were coming in. But yeah, he mentioned to us that she was searching for Hellas.
So, okay. David, are you talking about the stairs in the training room?
No, in the torture room.
Those are the ones that people. Yeah.
No, David mentioned some stairs.
Two different things.
David, are you?
I'm here. Sorry, I was looking at notes. We know in this southerly quadrant of the pillar room where the gargoyles were, there's stairs that go up to another level.
Oh, in the main hall.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In the main hall. So
and also in that training hall. Yeah.
Something. Yep. Yes.
And there's stairs to go down off of that little corridor with the chair of that looks out over the chasm. There's a set of stairs right behind that. Mm-hmm. So she could have, run over to those stairs and gone somewhere and come back already. I guess we were gone 2 days.
We have to assume that she knows these levels, that she knows their geography. She just doesn't probably recognize any of the people that are living in them right now, right? So she's probably wanders out of her thing, goes, I'm going to go over to, grab some Chick-fil-A, and then, holy shit, it's full of beastmen all the way to Chick-fil-A, and she just murders them all, right? Because that's kind of what she does. So more
lines is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I think she's exploring. I think she's probably looking for Hellas.
Yeah.
Why does that name sound familiar? Is that the librarian that we
it shouldn't be so confusing to us, which is that we have Hellas's notes, two of which are in contrast to each other, and we haven't discussed why. But the primary request, if it's authentic from her, was that I want my books moved. And so, we have all of those books with the exception of one that we left behind. And so with some certainty, we can deduce if what she needed out of Hellas, who is dead, and cannot give her anything as a dead person, is something that she might have given him, or he might have given her in life. It has to be one of the books. It has to be information, or it has to be the one that blinded our poor. In which case, maybe we should go grab that and not just leave it there. But this is the conversation in which now why she would be serpentine in her approach of this level with the beastmen and everything else is confusing. But if the hint is Hellas, and we are, whether she's aware of it or not, in possession of Hellas's XYZ, or our stash is where it is housed, her pursuit of where our stash might be might include killing everyone in the Beastman area and looking in all of those rooms and finding out that the book isn't there. And the next might be all of the debouchement and all the goblins and looking if the books are there. And the next might be, well, that wasn't successful. I'm going to just slink around and wait till they go into the pyramid and see if it's there. In which case, I'm not saying this is correct, but if what she wants is in her possession or not, or she presumes that it is, we are under a watch until that outcome. She's not going to directly kill us. In a weird way, it's a safety to know that before she knows where the things she wants in our possession are, our death is a problem for her. Therefore, extrapolate.
Assuming she's rational and assuming
she seems pretty rational, I think.
But we have what she's looking for. It occurs to me, based on the idea that everything here might have changed. This might have been where her quarters were before, her rooms. This is where she wanted to move her library to, and she's rooting around here going, where's my library go? I'm just
there 100%. The only thing I would say, and this doesn't mean we can weigh the degree of cognition that she possesses, but an irrational person who is as powerful as she is isn't sulking, sneaking, etc. She's not going to exit into a space in which she could handily kill everyone in it and be I better lay low for a while, that's triangulating, and triangulation requires some level of intellectual strategy. That doesn't mean that she isn't mad or that she isn't impulsive, right? But I would not ascribe to her a like purely reactive sort of like whatever, like a feral sort of behavior. I think literally triangulating in every step that we've seen from her, right? Well, or not seen for that matter. But yeah.
What this makes me wonder is if in the kind of ancient hierarchy, right, if the knowledge wasn't so compartmentalized that even she didn't know where the library was. Like this implies that to me, because if she's familiar with all the levels, then she would just go to where Hellas is. That's what we thought she was going to do. That was our very first assumption, that she was going to go right there, right?
Yeah, and his rejection of her has... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but if, Thought's whole religion is about the control of knowledge and secret knowledge, right? Maybe the different parts didn't talk to each other, and I think
it's far more likely that she doesn't have a quick way to go. She's probably used to using teleportation circles and things like that to automatically go from level to level. But we didn't find any tiles with her, and now she might be trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B by walking. And I don't know if that's a thing. She ran into all these beastmen, had to kind of like drop her hammer on everybody. And now maybe she's like, I'll try a different way tomorrow after she's had a chance to rest. Yeah.
And I'll add to that, like, this is a very reductive meta comment, but let's say I'm a 10th level wizard in whatever edition of D&D we're playing, but I had to memorize. Not that monsters work in the same way, but let's say I have to memorize my spells, I have to prepare, I have to anticipate, etc. And let's say that my spells, quadratic wizard style, may have the potential to wipe out an entire flow of people that aren't aware of me. That doesn't preclude the reality that, like, a person with a big fucking sword can chop my head off pretty easily if I expose myself in an obvious way.
Right.
Yes, she's an ancient being. Yes, she's terrifying. Yes, she may be like, but like, beyond being like a boss monster with a HP pool, she is a intelligent casting character who has high levels of power that are contextual. And if we engage with her in a context that isn't about her having the advantage, she's vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And the same goes for anyone else you would encounter. So if she's a rational being, which is what I think she is, she would be cautious about that. If she's irrational, she would bust through, blow her spells, be exposed, and she'd fucking die probably, frankly, because eventually someone would get there, right? But because she's intelligent, because she's hyper intelligent, she's going to triangulate. Who's going to pick her moments, right? I don't know.
I agree.
To infinite, yeah.
We shall see. But this is probably a pretty good place to stop. But lots of interesting seeds to discuss, which we will do so in our private Discord.